That long and noble line ended and now began again with me. And these people are over, they are no more, but then still somebody has to carry on the legacy. I was pained that I was not able to thank them and that they were not able to see that their sacrifices had wrought, what their sacrifices have earned or, filled people's heart with. They cannot see because they are no more with us. He's talking about, of course, the people who have sacrificed their lives, the freedom fighters and the patriots and all that. He says they are not present amongst us, unfortunately, but they must be happy seeing from above that we have made this day possible with their guidance, with their sacrifices and our efforts and zeal too. The policy of apartheid created a deep and lasting wound in my country and my people. All of us will spend some years, if not generations, recovering from the profound hurt, which is true that, exactly the country will not be able to come out of that trauma which has been on them for, all these years. But he's believing that gradually we will heal these wounds. He's calling it wounds, on their soul. But he says time will heal these wounds. So it's not easy for them to recover from that wound, but certainly they will. This is what Nelson Mandela is promising. But the decades of oppression and brutality had another unintended effect, and that was that it produces the Oliver Tamboos, Walter Sisselus, the Chief Luthelius, the Yusuf Dadoos, Bram Fishers, Robert Sobukwas of our times, and he's taking all these big names. Pardon if I am not pronouncing them well, but then it's, these are big names. Nelson Mandela is, recalling that these are the names who have been produced because of this hour of oppression. He is giving glory to such tough time. It is only because of the tough time and challenges that these big leaders have emerged. So he says that this way it has been a blessing in disguise for us. Men of such extraordinary courage, wisdom and generosity that their like may never be known again, and they are so, matchless, they are so unique that such courage and perseverance which these people have can never be seen again in any world leader. That's true also. Perhaps it requires such depths of operation to create such heights of character. And this is very important when Nelson Mandela is saying that it requires oppression for the great leaders to emerge. That's what P.B. Shelley has also said in his poem, that from the ashes, bird will rise or hope will rise. So it happens here also. When Nelson Mandela says, perhaps it requires such depths of oppression to create such heights of character. Character means the people who are so brave or so, devoted and committed to the noble cause and all that. My country is rich in the minerals and gems that lie beneath this soil, but I have also known that it is the greatest wealth is its people, finer and truer than the purest diamond. And he's calling all his freedom fighters and great leaders that my country is rich in minerals and diamonds and everything, but there is more valuable than that is the character of our leaders, which is, like he's comparing metaphorically, that the purest diamonds, he's calling them the purest diamonds. Of course, he's comparing these diamonds to the character of the people. It is from these comrades, fellows, in the struggle that I learned the meaning of courage. It is from all these co-workers or colleagues or partners, comrade will be the right word, will be partners, that I learned the correct meaning of the word courage. Time and again I have seen men and women risk and give their lives for an idea. I have seen men stand up to attacks and torture without breaking, showing a strength and resilience that defies the imagination. So, they were showing such kind of endurance, and then this is personifying beyond, this is so matchless a virtue that how can somebody be so tough that even the direst of the situations cannot break them or take them away. So he says this is a personification of unique character, and even people can't imagine how can somebody be so great in their character, so solid without breaking, determination. I learned that courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. This is very important extract because he is defining courage. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to handle the fear. We cannot deny that fear cannot be one of the factors. Fear will definitely be the factor of your journey. It will come across you, you will come across fear, but the strength lies in you if you are keeping an ability to overcome the fear. But he who conquers the fear, conquers means wins over. No one is born hating another person because of the color of skin or his background, his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. If people know how to hate, definitely we can teach them loving also. This is his belief and optimism reflecting in these lines. And he's saying that nobody should be discriminating on the basis of, color, custom, creed, religion. This is not good. We are all one and we should remain unanimously one. Love comes from naturally to the human heart, then its opposite. So love automatically comes, but then still we can strengthen up that bond of love in people's heart, not hatred at all. Even in the grimmest times in prison, when my comrades and I were punished and pushed to our limits, I would see a glimmer of humanity in one of the guards. And he says that I have remembered, now he is giving us, the glimpses of his past when they were all in the jails and what had happened. Perhaps just for a second but it was enough to reassure me and keep me going. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but cannot be extinguished. It can never be extinguished. He's believing that even, when there were guards or the people helping me, I still believe that it's not the oppressor or, the people who are wrong only they survive or they have their say or they always triumph or they are always happy. No, there are human virtues all around. He is, keeping that belief as his strength here in these lines. Society, each man is able to fulfill those obligations according to his own inclinations. Wherever you get the chance to do good, always do good. These lines mean that. But in a country like South Africa, it is almost impossible for men of my birth and color to fulfill both these obligations. We did not have those suitable conditions in Africa. He is asserting that we could do good and, carry on with our inclinations and with our abilities. But of course, situations were different. In South Africa, a man of color who attempted to live as a human being was punished and isolated because we never got the chance to behave well, to do nice things because we were always oppressed and suppressed. In South Africa, a man who tried to fulfill his duty to his people was inevitably ripped from his family. If somebody is doing good and trying to be of service to the nation or to the society, he will be punished. He will be, strange thing was that he will be, taken away from his family and his home and was forced to live a life apart. A twilight existence of secrecy and rebellion, because they cannot live like that if they do good and be, taking a stand for the good reason, common good. So naturally people will be coming and, suppressing them. So then he has to leave his family. If somebody wants to raise voice or become a leader for good reasons, in those days he's telling they cannot live with family because they have to survive with lot of oppression and suppression and force and all these tortures from everywhere. So they have to live basically a secret life. They cannot live commonly. The people who are raising voice against oppression and torture and those who are supporting humanity. This is what these lines Nelson Mandela is trying to convey. I did not in the beginning choose to place my people above my family, but in attempting to serve my people, I found that I was prevented from fulfilling my obligation as a son, a brother, a father and a husband. And he was believing that initially I thought that my first priority will always be my family. But when you enter into servicehood, when you enter into, serving people, when you enter into, becoming of good help to others, if you are truly committed to that call, believe me, you forget everything. There's no family. You feel only the people whom you're helping are your family members. That's what he's saying. That initially I thought that I'm just not doing good to my people, my mother must not be happy because I'm not giving her time and I'm not a good son and all that. But then later on I realized that I was not born with a hunger to be free. I was born free in every way that I could know. Free to run in the fields near my mother's hut. And then he's saying, although there is oppression all around, but then he individually said that I had experienced freedom in many ways. Wherever I wanted to go, I would just go. I would just run here and there. Free to swim in the clear stream that ran through my villages, free to roast mealies, the mealies or the these barns which he has taken from those cereals and all that, which he would just take from the crop, and then they would roast and eat it like that under the stars in the night time, and ride the broadbacks of slow moving bulls. So all these activities he did as child, he says that this was my share of freedom which I had enjoyed even when there was oppression all around. As long as I obeyed my father and abided by the custom of my tribe, I was not troubled by the laws of man or God. It was only when I began to learn that my boyhood freedom was an illusion, and I discovered as a young man that my freedom had already been taken from me, that I began to hunger for it. He says, initially I thought we are all free. Wherever I want to go, like I go. Whatever I want to eat, I eat. Wherever I want to sing, I am singing. As a small child, you have a different meaning of freedom. If you're allowed to do whatever you wish to do, play, enjoy, that's freedom. But then when he became an adult, he realized that that's not the freedom. We are still deprived of so many things. And then he started striving for the freedom. At first, as a student, I wanted freedom only for myself, and the transitory freedoms of being able to stay out at night, read what I please to go, and where I choose. So he's saying all these things. I later on realized that I cannot read, I cannot go here and there, and that's the way my freedom is taken away by these people. And then he thought of involving himself into the struggle. Later, as a young man, so you must remember, as a child, his perception for freedom was different. As a boyhood, phase, in the boyhood phase, he has described that he had these problems, and later on, when he became a young man in Johannesburg, longed for the basic and honorable freedoms of achieving my potential, earning my keep, marrying and having a family, the freedom not to be obstructed in a lawful life. All these kind of freedoms which he actually wanted in his manhood are all described. These factors must be taken into view. But then I slowly saw that not only was I not free, but my brothers and sisters were not free as well. I saw that it was not just my freedom that was curtailed, taken away, stopped. Earlier he thought that only my freedom is affected, but then later on he realized, gradually when he became aware, and when he became mature, he realized that this is not an individual crisis. This is a crisis for the entire nation. That is when I joined the African National Congress, and that is when the hunger for my own freedom became the greater hunger for the freedom of my people. And then it was this desire for the freedom of my people to live their lives with dignity and self-respect that animated my life, which gave, energy to his life. And he started thinking about the society, about the nation, and he joined this Congress. So then he thought that there was energy in my life. And then that transformed a frightened young man into a bold one. And he says, the moment I realized that I am not fighting for myself, I am fighting for the common cause of goodness, for humanity. Then he says, I was no more a scared boy. I became a bold man then. That drove a law-abiding attorney to become a criminal, that turned a family-loving husband into a man without home, that forced a lifelong loving man to live like a monk. And he says that then I realized that I had made some sacrifices also. I was no more, loving husband, and then I was without home. I was forced to live like a monk, because when you are taking up such journey, definitely obstructions and sacrifices are part of it. I am no more virtuous of self-sacrificing than the next man, but I found that I could not even enjoy the poor and limited freedoms I was allowed when I knew my people were not free. And he was not happy with his individual freedoms, if at all he availed it here and there. He wanted freedom for poor people, for the entire nation. Freedom is indivisible. You cannot, divide that somebody can have freedom, other group cannot. It has to be equally distributed amongst everybody. The chains on any one of my people were the chains on all of them. The chains on all of my people were the chains on me. So if it was their pain, it was my pain. Chains are symbolizing that if they were suppressed, an individual was suppressed, we were all suppressed. I knew that oppressor must be liberated just as surely as the oppressed. So it's not that only the person who's getting, affected by the system of prejudices, they need to be relieved of it. Even the one who's creating is also in the chains. So we have to set free the oppressor as well as the people getting affected by that oppression. A man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. He's already chained. If some dictator is trying to create prejudices, discrimination, he's also chained in all these evils. So first he needs to be set free. He's locked behind the bars of prejudices and narrow-mindedness. I am not truly free if I am taking away somebody else's freedom, just as surely as I am not free when my freedom is taken away from me. So this is vice versa. If you take somebody's freedom, even you are also chained in hatred. So both the oppressor and the oppressed need to be relieved, set free. The oppressed and the oppressor alike are robbed of their humanity, and both are the object of pity. What a philosophy Nelson Mandela has given in his autobiographical sketch, and we are truly inspired with it. With this, now the excerpt as well as this entire episode comes to an end. I think you must have enjoyed. Thank you.